everyone, how are you doing today? I'm Kirsty, and on today's video I'm going to be going through my November wrap-up, which features these and more. I can't believe this is the last wrap-up for the year for me, because my December wrap-up will be posted in January. So this is the last of my 22 wrap-ups that will be posted in 2022, and that's awesome. But also, where did the year go? November was a brilliant month for me. I got through 14 books, 6 of which were novels, the other 8, yep, I can count. The other 8 were graphic novels, manga volumes. But because of all of that reading and catching up on some manga, I hit my yearly reading goal. So I'm really happy about that. For the rest of the year, anything I read is just bonus, and I am happy about that. So first of all, I'm going to run down, and I'm going to be doing my wrap-ups a little bit differently in future. I'm going to talk about the books that I either continued or just started and didn't finish, and books that I may have DNF'd, and then I'll talk about the books that I'll go through. And then this month, instead of going from the lowest rated up to the highest, because a lot of them are in series, I'm just going to talk about them in whole. But the best part, every single one of these books is 4.5 or 5 stars. 14.5 or 5-star books in 1 month. That's amazing. It was a good month. I'm going to start with the books that I didn't finish. First of all, we have The Roommate Experiment, which I got 18 pages in because I was waiting for food in Wetherspoons and I had nothing else to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this because we're 18 pages in and so far we have fixated on how beautiful this guy is about 30 times. And I think that's going to get very old very quickly. Like, we do not need reinforcing how hot somebody is for it to be a good romance. So not sure if I'm going to enjoy this one, even though it did start off quite amusing. We then have The Way of Shadows. This one I started in October and I still haven't finished. And it's one of those books that I really enjoy while I'm reading it, but as soon as I put it down, I forget it exists. Not sure if that's just my brain or if that's just not a good sign. But I am really enjoying it, and it is a very interesting concept, and it has things in here that I've not seen in any other fantasy. So I will be getting on and trying to get through this as much as I can in December. I then had my reread of Legendborn that started off really well. I got onto one of Shah's reading sprints and did 70 pages in just under an hour. And I got to page 90 and I've just kind of again put it down, forgotten that it exists. I'm going to read a little bit more of this today because it is the 30th of November. No way am I going to get it finished today. But I'm going to get through it and then I can hopefully add Blood Marked onto my wish list for my birthday. And then finally we had a read-along, a buddy read with Clumsy Charlotte and a group of lovely people over on Twitter, and I got 14 pages in before a migraine kicked in and took me to bed, and I just haven't picked it back up again. And that is Priory of the Orange Tree. I have moved this onto my December TBR. I doubt I'll get it finished, but I'm going to try, because then I'll know if I want to get the prequel or not. Now, moving on to the books that I actually finished, I'm going to start with the mangas, because I know a lot of you on here probably don't read manga, or it's not the genre that you're interested in. I think most of you guys that watch are more fantasy people or actual novels. So we'll start with the graphic novels / mangas. And we're going to start with the series Spy Family, which I read volume 1 to 6, and all of these got 4.5 stars. I watched the manga, no I didn't. I watched the anime recently and fell in love with it, so I was like, I now have to read this manga. I can't just wait for the episodes to come out. I need to know what's happening next. And I've not been disappointed. It's been brilliant. I love Anya. She's the absolute most adorable little person on the planet. I like the relationships that are slowly starting to build, and you can tell it's going to lead to eventually everyone's secrets coming out to each other, and I think it's just going to be hilarious. And if it goes the way that I really hope it's going to go, it's going to create the most awesome family dynamic ever. So I am very much looking forward to seeing where this is going to go. Next up we have My Hero Academia. You guys all know I adore this. The manga is slowly coming to a close and series 6 of the anime has just been released, so I decided to read the manga that covers the arc that's going to be in this series because I've not yet read them, but I do know some of the spoilers already, and even knowing the spoilers did not make it any less emotional for me. And I read volume 33, 34. Volume 33 got 5 stars. It was extraordinarily emotional. Seeing Midoriya go through the things that he goes through, and obviously I'm not going to tell anything because of spoilers, but just a whole load of stuff happens that accumulates in a very emotional scene and had me crying. And then volume 34 was still good, but it introduced a character from abroad and I just didn't like her very much, and I kind of felt a little bit towards her and her arc and what happens in that novel. I was just like, whatever, move on. But it was still fantastic and still got 4 stars. And now with the novels, 5 of them were Nalini Singh's from the Psy Changeling. So as you know, I've been doing a reread. It kind of started off impromptu and has become a thing, but I have been slowly rereading the series. I have been doing it out of sync. I read some of the more recent ones and then went back to read the originals. So I've reached a point now where I've reached one book and the next book is one that I already read earlier in the year. So I'm like, uh-oh, do I do another reread even though it's only been 2 months, or do I just skip that one? But these are the next 5 in the series. We have Play of Passion, Kiss of Snow, help if I put them in order, but we've got Play of Passion, Kiss of Snow, Tangle of Need, Shield of Winter, and no, Heart of Obsidian, and then Shield of Winter. And of those, these 3 are 5 stars and these 2 both got 4.5, and I enjoyed Tangle of Need way more this time than I did before. I just was way more into the relationships and some of the side stuff that was going on. I kind of got it a bit more. And then Play of Passion, it's cute, it's sweet, it's lovely, but they're not my favourite couple in the series. My favourite couple in the series, Caleb and Sahara. I would love me to have a man that would destroy the world for me, and the only reason he hasn't yet is because she is the one that's told him to not. And if anything were to happen to her, but yeah, this is funny and it just has such a beautiful relationship, and we learn a lot of things about Caleb Krychek and realise that yes, he's got a darkness in him as we've seen throughout the series, but there is a lot more to him and he's actually extraordinarily complex, and I loved that about him. We then had Shield of Winter, which follows, it's one of the first books that follows the Arrows, who are like the assassins of the Psy. It follows Vasek, who is the first of the Arrows to start to realise that it is okay to feel emotion, and he connects with an empath called Ivy Jane, and they have a pet dog called Rabbit, who is absolutely sweet as a button. And yeah, this book it did make me cry. And then with Kiss of Snow, we have a baby being born. I'm not going to say who, what, when or where, but there is a birth scene in here that is the cutest little thing ever and had me crying with joy. I'm not going to say the couple in this because it is spoilery, but let me just say that this couple, absolutely incredible. The angst between them, the emotions and the feeling that the male lead has about feeling betrayal, that he feels that he is betraying the person that he was in love with and that he feels should have been his mate. It's just so beautiful, and they overcome it together and they just become such a unit at the end, and she is amazing and one of my favourite characters in the entire series. So Psy Changeling reread is going fantastically. I now only actually have 3 more books to read before I've reread the entire series this year. And then the final book that I finished, that I started way back in July on my way to Yalk. I met the author, fell in love with her. She's absolutely lovely. and she did like a workshop that I took part in where I met two people who I now consider absolute best friends for life. And yeah, that is Holly Race with Midnight's Twins book 1. I'm just going to say it now. This is, as much as I love Side Changeling, I already have a couple of them in my book of the year showdown. And this just, I didn't expect this to blow me away as much as it did. I didn't expect it to make me cry. I didn't expect it to make me have to put it down because I was getting too excited and I was like, okay, my heart is starting to pound a little bit. I need to go and take a break. And just everything was brilliant. It had, I love the relationship between Fern and Ollie. They are twins. Some stuff has happened in the past that has thrown them apart. Fern absolutely hates Ollie. She believes that Ollie hates her. She thinks he tried to kill her, and admittedly he kind of did, because he did cause her to end up being set on fire. And just watching their relationship start to, it doesn't like fully repair, but just watching them sort of start to bond a little bit more when they start to find things about their deceased mother. It's just such a beautiful story. It did have some very heavily emotional bits in, and there was a couple of moments that I was like, oh, what? I didn't expect that. And Holly Race actually wrote a thing that I've done in my own book, and it had the same shock factor for me that I am really hoping that it's going to have on my readers one day. So I was just like, oh damn, to see that in action is so cool. So it was brilliant, and I hated her for it, that she did it, because I'm like, oh no, am I going to do that to other people? Oh yes. But yeah, this was brilliant. It was funny, it was great, and I really liked the world building. It was a little bit clunky to begin with. Like, I did struggle to get my head around Ithir and Amwyn and what's this and what's that. And when they started to like bring in the different people, like Merlin and people and Andraste, things like that, I got a little bit like, wow, this is too much being introduced too quickly. But then after about 10 chapters, it kind of just smooths out and things become a lot easier to comprehend, and things are introduced a little bit slower, which was much nicer and meant that by the end of the book I was completely hooked, didn't want it to end, and now can't wait to get the second one. And like I said, this is book of the month for November. So yeah, I wish I'd gotten to this one pre-Yauk. I think I did take it with me. I think I got it. Yes, I did get it signed. So I am very happy with that. But now I need to go and get the second book, let that one destroy me, and get the second book signed. So those were my reading jaunts throughout November. As I said, Midnight's Twins is book of the month. No book was under 4.5, so I don't have like a least favourite because they were all brilliant and I was happy with all. If I had to pick, I'd say it would be the second volume of the My Hero Academias. It just didn't match up to the 5-star of the one before, but it was still brilliant, and it had some crucial story elements in there that you couldn't have not had. And yeah, it was a brilliant reading month. Let me know in the comments below, how did your November reading month go, and what was your book of the month? I will be back again tomorrow with my If You Like This, Try Reading This 2022 edition. Hope you're all good, hope staying safe, and until tomorrow.